We'll call the meeting to order and welcome everybody here this evening. I was wondering, before we go any further, I'd ask that everybody rise and take a moment of reflection at your choice. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. I would ask, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof on the agenda this evening by any member of council? Seeing none, if there is, does occur at any time, it can be declared. Closed session. I don't believe we have any closed session at this point in time. Matters arising, obviously none. Public meeting. We have none this evening, Mark. Consent agenda. Councillor Lawrence.
Thank you. I have two requests. I would request that the, let me see, the clerk, CC 05-1915 be pulled.
Can I introduce this first? And then
oh, yeah, I guess you could.
then I'll ask if you want to have anything pulled. Okay. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson and seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that items A1 to C2 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted, and further that authorization be given for the actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Councillor Lawrence, would you like to pull a couple of items?
Sorry about that. Well, I guess my question is the reason I want the clerk's consent agenda or a consent report pulled, it's to do with bylaw 30/2015. Now, if I can give my concerns and we can discuss it when it gets to bylaws, but I just was, there's not a recommendation. Well, there is a recommendation that we approve it here. Yeah. So I guess pulled. And I'd also like the library minutes pulled, please, of February the 16th. Okay. Thank you. And when can I discuss the library minutes? Under what section should I discuss that, Mark?
Probably under new business. New
business, okay. Thank you.
In case you didn't get that, Adam, under new business, thank you. Microphones are working tonight, so we'll see if we can get back on to using them. Yep. And we could, for your other concern on the bylaw, dealing with an amendment for East Durham Wind, before that's introduced, Mark Selman, we could have discussion or your concerns with that bylaw before it's introduced. So it may, from your conversation or questions, it may not get introduced.
All right, so if we approve this report, CC 05-1915, could it be with the exception of that item? Because, I mean, the other ones have to be approved, the livestock valuer special committee, the whole meeting, and the multi-municipal wind turbine.
What's your interpretation of that, Mark?
Yeah, it's just a recommendation from myself. There's no actual resolution for consent agenda. Obviously, a bylaw has to be a separate resolution passed, third readings given, so there's ample opportunity to discuss the bylaw and then decide to pass, not to pass, or defer it altogether.
Okay. Any other consent agenda items? I had two. One dealing with, there was a item in there on Volunteer Appreciation Week from Vaughan. They had put a resolution forward to declare it Volunteer Appreciation Week, and I'd like to bring that forward as a direct motion. And what was the other one that I had asked you, Mark? Oh, right. One other comment that we talked about, I guess I can say that now, on the development charges bylaw that we passed, the time for any comments or appeals on that. The appeal process was today at 4 o'clock, and that has passed. So the development charges bylaw is in effect, I guess, is the best way to say it. Okay? That is it on the consent agenda items, other than asking for the vote on the motion with those 2 items pulled. Anything else? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay. Brings us down then to communications from Mayor and Council. Is there any communications, good news out there? Doug, Councillor Hutchison.
I'd just like to announce that for those people who are probably aware of it, that the Garifraxa Cafe is now open again, and I think they've had a number of people in to visit, and they seem happy about things so far. So you get a chance to go in if you haven't already been there, to pop in and say hello and meet the owners, and they are very keen and looking for ideas. So they're going to come up with some, I believe, some entertainment on some weekends, some music entertainment, and he's open to do that too. And so I think he's keen, and it should be good for the downtown core of Durham.
Anything else? Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last Wednesday, I think it was.
Thursday. Thursday, but who's counting?
Very good, very good. Economic Development in Grey County had a tour to our wonderful little section of the world in West Grey known as Newstead. And we met at Noah's Inn along with myself. Councillor Hutchison, Councillor Lawrence was president, along with Wendy Stewart, who's also on the Economic Development Committee. And we toured Noah's Inn and got all our questions answered about there. And then we went to Newstead Breweries and had a tour and a little, shall we say, introduction to Newstead Springs Brewery. And they took the tour down through the catacombs of Newstead. And everybody had a real good time. And like so many other gems in this part of the world, a lot of people didn't know that that was there. So they had a real good tour, and I think all were suitably impressed. So our hosts were very gracious. Obviously, Val and Andy and the new owners of Noah's Inn are very, shall we say, interested in wanting to pursue economic development in that area, and they got some great ideas. So we look forward to better things in the future. So, Doug's got a question.
Okay, very good. Councillor Hutchison, Doug?
Just to add to that, I believe the mayor was there also. I think Mr. Bell
Yes,
missed him, but I never did see him after the taste testing session, so I'm not sure what happened there. But anyways, he was on that tour also.
Yes, you are quite correct. Remiss in mentioning the mayor. He was there. He was late, but he was there. Yeah.
Fashionably late. Any other activities anybody wants to comment on? Durham Activity Center, ran by a former council member, has their annual fish derby. Dan Sullivan and company from the Durham Activity Center ran that on Friday and Saturday down at the Varney Pond Conservation Authority area. Very well attended, and the weather this year was one of the better years for the weather for the children that were fishing and whatnot. I was there on Saturday afternoon. The fish weren't biting 100%, not even 50% apparently. They were soaking up the sun too and a little bit lazy, but everybody was having a very good time. Also, earlier on Saturday, I was at the plant sale held by the Horticultural Society at the Town Hall, and very brisk business there with all the potted plants from flowers to tomatoes, if you needed that to be transplanted, which I went home. I bought some tomato plants and transplanted them yesterday. So council better be very quick tonight so I can go home and make sure they get covered up, because it's getting a little chilly out there for my tomato plants. If I don't, I may be back next week to find another plant sale to find some.
For another sale.
And speaking of other activities for next weekend, I would be remiss if I didn't do a little bit of free advertising for the Newstead Lobster Fest that is on Saturday in Newstead at the arena in the hall from 4 till 8. If you haven't got tickets, you may be out of luck. I was talking to a couple of the Lions members on the weekend, and they may be able to scrounge up a ticket or two, but they're pretty much sold out. Somewhere be just a little over 1,600 tickets that they have out there at this point in time. Carol?
That day is also the Apple Blossom Festival at Phil Singer's, 23rd.
Yes.
And the Ayton firefighters have a rib dinner that night as well, which you have to have tickets for. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else? I don't know whether I mentioned this at the last meeting, and I'm not sure whether it was at that point in time, but longtime employee of West Grey, Les McKinnon, our environmental officer, did our septic inspections and some bylaw enforcement, passed away earlier this month, and he has celebration of life is the 30th of May, I think is on the Saturday, in Priceville, Ken, am I right? And that at Stoddard Hall. Family, I believe, are having a private function on Friday, and there's at Stoddard Hall on the Saturday, last Saturday in May here, open session 4 till 11 or something like that. Celebration of life for Les. Very prominent in the community with the Emancipation Festival and Black History. Took a great interest in that. Was also a member of the Source Water Protection Committee since its inception. Very community-minded individual, and certainly will be missed, not only by his family and friends, but the community at large. So our sympathies do go out to Les's partner Doris and all of his family. Sorry that happens, but it is part of life. So the difficult part. And on that note, I don't have anything else. Okay. Delegations, I don't believe we have any tonight, Mark, that I'm aware of. Business arising from the previous meetings, any business that any individual has? Seeing none. And that brings us down to staff reports. And our first report is, we have Carrie here, Director of Finance. And Carrie, I think your first one starts with the, if I'm not mistaken, the accounts. And if I can just scroll to that. Still in the consent. That'll be coming up here. Is there any questions on the accounts at this point in time? Councillor Hutchison, Doug? Use that mic.
Just a question on page 2. The corporate tax, cost tax sales registrations fee. So that means that we're selling some properties? Is that what that's for?
That's for property tax sales, properties that are in 3 or more years of tax arrears. We use an outside firm, and they send all the notices, and those costs are then added to the tax roll for collection, either by the property owner if they pay it off before, and if not, when we actually sell the property for registration.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Councillor Marshall, Don?
The legal for Thompson Rogers Lawyers for West Grey Hanover, the $9,300, is that for the OMB hearing coming up in October, or is that for other?
Page 13.
That's for
I would
page 13,
believe so, yes, Don?
that's the OMB part of it?
Yes. I think that's what it is. Carrie, am I correct on that?
Preparing for that.
Yes.
Yep, different issue.
Now, Larry? Yes, go ahead, Larry. I can know.
Also, if you recall, we are also in the mediation stage, so we're mediating with, through our legal counsel and their legal counsel to come up with a solution, if at all possible, prior to going to the Ontario Municipal Board hearing. But we are preparing for both, so that would be the cost.
Okay. Doug? Councillor Hutchison again?
Page 4, just Durham Veterinary Clinic, April pound services. I'm just wondering what pound services that we use there.
Any stray dog that's picked up gets taken to the Durham Veterinary Clinic.
Okay.
Could be stored there for 2 to 5 days, I think is the maximum. If they don't get a hold of the individual, then,
Okay.
yeah.
We also use the Walkerton Veterinary Clinic, I believe, as well, too. You may see them on over there occasionally.
Okay.
So we identify the clinic, but not the dog owner.
No.
And the costs are recouped on that from the dog, if we can,
Yeah.
from the dog owner. Okay? John?
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Bell?
Yep. Okay, this question's more directed to Ken. Ken, I see we had our, is that annual or semi-annual landfill engineering inspections completed here? And Glenelg dump is still on there. Here we go, GM blueprint. So it's still $3,723 every year, or is that semi-annually for them to say Glenelg dump's okay?
Yeah, that's the preparation of the annual reports and the sampling, water sampling.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Is there any specific timeline on when that may be over with, or how long will that go on? Any idea?
we did send a letter to the MOE asking if we could get some relief from the Glenelg monitoring and sampling, but we weren't successful, sorry.
Okay, so and they didn't give any timeline
No.
as to when you would be or anything like
No.
that? Okay.
We're still monitoring the Newstead site, and it's been closed since the early 90s, so.
Okay, guess we don't need to ask that question again for a while. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Carrie, on page 2, Ron Peffer, I think maybe it's more of a spelling mistake, but he has mileage to the Blow Mountains. I saw that. Is there?
Yeah, that should be blue.
Oh, it's probably a comment I can use there, but present company will say no, they're good with that. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the voucher? Then I will call the question. All those in favor of the voucher as presented? Any opposed? That's carried. Did I read this motion?
Thought you did.
There was a lot more questions usual, and I think we got off. And Mark is saying, wait, I don't think I did either. The motion was moved by Doug Hutchison and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 9, 2015 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $421,127.86. Yeah. We won't ask Adam to rewind that. We'll just, if we've done it twice, and that's better than not doing it at all. So I'll ask again. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you for your indulgence. Okay. And the other point in there, Carrie, is for information on the council remuneration. And just for information in the package. Any other good things to report, Carrie? The audit is almost completed.
They're just finishing up some audit review notes and waiting for a return of confirmations, but we should have them for the June 1st meeting, June 1st. Yeah. The amended budget bylaws in the package, if there's any questions, or it's, we had given notice at the last meeting. But still the same overall amount. It's just changing, realigning where it showed up in the departmentally. But
Yeah.
if there's any questions on it.
It was mostly in those insurance that were now precisely divvied out into the certain aspects. Okay. Any other questions then for Carrie? No? Well, we've got two councillors down at this end are thinking it's pretty hot in here, so I don't know. Like, I thought budget time was when it got hot, not just talking about the budget, but... Yep. Okay. Yeah, you are in short sleeves, Mark. Very good. Okay, all right, thank you, Carrie. All right, we'll move on then to, through here, to Mr. Gould's report. Ken, and the first report you have for us tonight is the contract agreement with Botanical Designs. Any further information on that, Ken?
Yeah, this is the agreement with Kelly Lance through Botanical Designs to provide a variety of maintenance jobs in the village of Newstead for us, where we don't have any equipment, manpower, or housing, so it works out very well. He keeps on top of everything, and there is a slight increase in his contract. Apparently his insurance has gone up too, so. But yeah, he does a very good job for us.
And just to confirm, in our budget, this we had this expectation, so this is this portion is in the budgeted area, correct?
Yes, we've allowed for this in the budget.
Okay. So I have the motion out here. Any other questions before I introduce? Then I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby accepts the contract terms from Botanical Designs and Installation as per quotation for maintenance work in the village of Newstead for the 2015-16 season at a cost of $39,971.76 plus applicable taxes. Any further questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Very good. And the next one is the collection or waste diversion Ontario. Ken, any further information?
Yeah, Stewardship Ontario, which is part of Waste Diversion Ontario, have sent the paint collection to a company called Product Care Association. So our agreement that we have in place here is with Stewardship Ontario. So this is just another bylaw that we have to have agreed with, so we can collect revenue from any paints that go through the hazardous waste program.
Okay. Any, Doug, Councillor Hutchison?
Just a question, will this, because it's a different company, will it all be done at the same time when they do the hazardous waste collection? It's still done at the same time, right?
Yeah, it'll be collected, we believe it's the last Saturday in July. We have Doug.
Right.
Yeah, that stays the same. It's just a
Right. Just
the name of the check comes from a different company coming back.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments on the bylaw to be introduced? Is there any movement, Ken? I know some municipalities are collecting some of this product on an ongoing basis at their landfill. The Waste Management Committee looked at that going forward. I know we can't store it at our landfill yet, we're not there, but any further update on any of that?
Yeah, in our 2015 landfill budget, we did have money set aside for a mobile unit, and currently Gamsey and Manroe are trying to amend the sites, the C of A sites to allow for this. So that's in the works, yes.
That'd be excellent. Put us considerably further ahead if we were able to get that of some other local municipalities that do some recycling collection as well, too. Okay. Any other questions for Ken on that? Rob?
While we're talking about recycling, has there been any, thank you, has there been any further work done on adding more recycling bins to the landfill site in Durham? This past weekend, all the bins were filled, and I guess we did discuss waste management coming in more often. Is there anything further on it, Ken?
We're going to do a bit of a change there starting this Saturday. That, when residents bring cardboard in, it has to be tied. So there's going to be a bundle of rope there, and if you come in with a box that's hasn't been compacted, then you will be asked to tie it together, and so that's what's taking up a lot of the room. It's just filling in the bins with cardboard that's not broke down, and it takes up all our room. So we're going to try that. And I have contacted Waste Management to ask for more bins too, but as of yet we haven't got them.
Thank you.
Carol, Councilor Lawrence, go ahead.
We did discuss, though, Ken, about a different pickup day. Did you discuss that with them? Like, they come Wednesdays, isn't it? And we had inquired about them coming Monday because most of the stuff comes in on the weekend.
Yeah, Saturday's the big day for the collection of recycling. They, as of yet, they haven't been able to change it is still Wednesday that they're picking up. So.
Well, surely they can accommodate a request. They get an awful lot of money from West Grey for their services. They surely can look at doing the pickup on Monday, so you don't have that mess. I was down there too, and I had phone calls. It's a heck of a mess again after the weekend. And I would hope that our attendant down there would pick up some of that recycling and throw it in the bins. Not, you know, it was all over the place. The bins were overflowing and it was all over, but sometimes he could maybe just pick up some of that stuff too and throw it in the bins when it doesn't make it.
Yeah, we've had 2 students picked it all up there a couple of weeks ago, and it's with the strong wind we had on the weekend again, it's blowing around. You're right. So that'll be done again.
I'm thinking more as it comes in, like if he kept an eye when he's there in his shed, he kept an eye, and if stuff is falling out, he could throw it in so it doesn't blow.
Yeah, the bins get overflowed, and they just throw loose papers and cardboard up on top, and as soon as the wind takes it, it moves it all over the place. So it is a problem. We're going to try this tying down the cardboard and see if we can get more room in for the bins that we do have.
Okay. Stay on a monitoring program. Okay. Anything else, Ken? I think you had one other item maybe to add in.
Our vendor that supplies or that sells our bag tags at 8 and Newstead has declined his services, so there is a motion I prepared here for tonight that the Newstead Springs Brewery will start selling bag tags for us in Newstead. As of yet, we haven't got one. Haven't got a vendor for 8, but we're still working on it. But if we can get that put through, she'll start selling this week. So at the Newstead Springs Brewery, which is open, it's open 7 days a week. So I think it'll accommodate the people from Newstead.
Carol, Councilor Lawrence?
Just rumors are rumors, but did we in fact ask that they be paid up front, the tags, when we're giving out tags for a store to sell? Did we ask for payment up front for those tags?
No, they generally, in most cases, I believe they get them, or there's some pay right on the spot, but then there's other, I've taken them to the Markdale where I take the invoice in and they pay at a later date. So
When they collect? I mean, do we ask are they expected to pay for those and then keep the revenue from it? Or do they submit the revenue when they're paid, when they're purchased? Like, say, once a month or every 6 months or whatever. What's the setup there?
They buy the tags at $1.90 a piece, and we submit the invoice to them, and then they pay, depending on which vendor it is.
Okay, so in other words, they're kind of paying up front. Like if they have a lot of tags, they're putting out quite a bit of money.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I heard.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments on that? So you're asking for that to be a direct motion, Ken, then to get Newstead Springs Brewery to be the representative there, and we'll work on the 8-1 coming forward at a later date.
Yes, if council would entertain that motion, that'd be great.
Yep, very good. Okay. So we've got that one on. You notice a motion, Mark? Yep, let's get to read it. Yep. Okay. Any other questions for Ken? Comments further? Okay. Thank you, Ken. CEO Deputy Clerk. Larry, first on the agenda there is the environmental services. I did mention there about less, so.
That'd be correct, Your Worship. I believe you've covered it. Part of that, it was just for council's information. I've made arrangements with the people that are currently providing us with building and permitting issues to pick up that service until we decide where we're going to go with that. And just that's for council information. Second item is 2015 AMO delegations. There's been a circulation made by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing in regards to any requests for delegations at the upcoming AMO conference, and I'm seeking council's direction on which ministries, if any, we would like to meet with when we are at AMO in August.
Those need to be in by June sometime, is it? I believe.
That'd be correct, Your Worship. We have to give them, I think, 6 weeks' notice, then they give us a half-hour notice. I'm sorry, that might sound a little jaded. It just seems to work that way sometimes. They try to notify us within the week of the event.
Of the conference. Usually take. Councillor Cutting, Bev?
I would like to maybe see if we could get a delegation with the MOE. We did have a meeting with them a number of months ago, last year maybe, regarding the REA approval process. I would like to maybe have a follow-up meeting and just reiterate what we said, and they seem to agree with us and nod their heads, but they always do. But it might be nice to have a little bit of a follow-up conversation with them, make our points again, ask for some comments, since they seem to be in favor of them last time, if council so wishes.
Any concerns about putting that request in? Of course, we do know just because you put the request in doesn't mean you're going to get it, but
If you don't ask,
yeah, we know what the answer will be there. Just for my information, who always has put in to go to AMO this year?
nobody.
Well, oh, the person beside you is a nobody.
No.
What? You're the one that,
Face was this way.
yeah, yeah. I have no, I know that I'm going, I'll be going down on behalf of the county, and so I believe
I didn't go to
John will be.
Good Rose Life.
So, yeah, Carol and Bev and Don, you're going? Okay. And myself, okay. Well, we'll have good representation there. It is in Niagara this year, if not, so, okay. Well, that's one. Put your thinking caps on if we have any other ones. I'm wondering whether, and Ken has left, about MTO and their connecting link. I think there's about 135 or 140 municipalities that are involved in the connecting link on provincial highways. And certainly it has a large effect with West Grey, with the bridge at the bottom of the Durham Hill on Garifraxa, and how that new funding formula, if we can have an idea of how that's going to work out, or an update, I guess, more than anything else. So I'd maybe ask that wouldn't be put in. If there's any questions or concerns on that. I guess I'm looking at no. And Mr. Bell, what do you have?
Well, I don't have much. It's more of a question or thing, and this is directed towards Larry. From your perspective, is there anything that we should be asking for a delegation for? Is there any concerns on your part? Anything from either West Grey perspective and or a regional perspective?
Well, the one item that we're waiting on with bated breath at this point in time is the decision on the BCF, SCF funding. We put in that large application, which mirrored the application from Southgate, and to this point in time, we were advised earlier in the year that they were waiting until the provincial budget was rolled out. Last time I checked, the provincial budget rolled out about a month ago, and we still haven't heard anything. So we're waiting to hear on that. That is one thing that we might want to follow up with, perchance with, I believe it's OMAP is the lead on that, but I will just verify that. So that is one I would like to follow up. Perhaps we'll hear by then whether we are successful in that, but I will ascertain which ministry, and that's one I think we should follow up on, perhaps even a joint delegation with Southgate to see at least move them along.
Is it OMAF or is it Infrastructure Minister Duguid?
When we were in that meeting, they were bouncing around pretty good. It went from OMAF to
Wheel.
MMAH back to infrastructure. I will ascertain which one it is and make
we'll find
an
out.
application.
I think it would be very good. One of the other ones, and it's been in the news this last week, has been on natural gas, with the main line flowing right through from one end of West Grey to the other, north and south. And a number of our municipalities having natural gas, but Ayton and Newstead being our two urban areas that do not, and would certainly benefit from that. Wondering what the chances of working with Union Gas. And I do know that Union Gas has, there's been some new regulations out, Enbridge and Union Gas looking at how they can do expansions as well too. I don't know whether, Don, when you were at OSIM, whether you got a chance to talk to Union Gas, but that was one of the things I was speaking to them about. And they are looking at opening up and expanding again, but there was some regulatory issues in there when I was talking to the local individual from up near Wyerton. So we want to follow up on that. For certainly, it's very much interested in Ayton and Newstead of getting natural gas.
Which ministry would be the lead on that, Your Worship?
I think it'd probably be, it's either energy or infrastructure. So it's either Shirelli or Duguid. Okay, thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments on that? And of course, we do have a bit of time, so maybe by committee of the whole, in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to have comment then as well too on that. I guess it's not a couple of weeks. Committee of the whole is next week, isn't it? Next Monday. Yeah. If I show up in 2 weeks, I'll be ready for council meeting again. Okay, so next week, Monday. All right. Okay, Larry, anything else?
One thing that I wanted to report back to council on is at the last council meeting, I was instructed to set out a request for quotations in regards to having a environmental scan on the Elmwood Library building. I did put that on the website. I did send out requests for proposals to a number of contractors. It closed last Friday with no submissions at this point in time. So what I'm wondering about is if council would consider waiving the procedural bylaw to allow me to direct quote from a couple of qualified contractors to get information back. Would council consider doing that, or would you like me to request for quotes again? I guess I'm seeking direction. There was some expediency on that. We were trying to get it done in a timely fashion. Unfortunately, the timely fashion did not work. I received no quotes. I waited till this morning, which is why it's not on the report, because this report went in last week, but I waited till this morning just to see if there's anything submitted in the Dropbox, but there's nothing in the Dropbox as well. So I'm looking for direction, Your Worship.
Any thoughts on going just to seek out a couple of single source or sole source, that type of project, process? Mr. Bell?
I'd be in favor of that, Mr. Mayor, because we've got to move this process along, and if that's the best way we can do it, to expedite this, I think that in this particular case would be wise.
Any other comments? Carol?
Well, I agree with what John's saying. I think we need to get it done, and if you know of one or two local that, can do it, they can give you a quote. I'm hoping it's not into the tender price that we need to tender, so I would certainly agree with that, because we do have to get that looked at. One thing I did ask, Larry, if I might, I asked or left it with Kevin, and I mentioned it to you, when we do get that report, I would hope it would tell us whether in fact there was a health and safety issue, besides what's wrong with the building, but if it actually constituted a health and safety issue.
Part of the RFQ, Your Worship, through you to Councillor Lawrence, part of the RFQ indicated that we did want an air sample taken and also samples of various, if there was anything shown up in the air sample. And I'm no expert in this by any stretch of the imagination, but my understanding is they take a snapshot, they contain that breath, if you will, of air, and they send it to labs for testing, and from there they make the assertion whether to do any further insights. So that was part of the RFQ, and also for council's information too, I was working with the acting CBO. He is well versed in this area of building and that sort of thing, so he was actually suggesting some places and assisted me in getting RFQs out to good qualified applicants. So if it's all right, I will follow up with him, and we will get something back to you, and I'll endeavor to get more than one quote to ensure that we're getting a fair price. So
Carol, go ahead.
Well, if I might, what you're speaking of, the air quality, that was done in 2010. That's exactly what they did, and there was no mold at all. There was no mold in the building. But they're not really hanging their hat on mold. I think they're hanging their hat on a few other things too. So, the stability maybe of the building, or the door that they didn't get fixed, that kind of stuff. Just so an overall comment, whether there was actually a health and safety issue there that would have validated them closing it.
Okay. All right. I think we can do that through a direct motion here to give that authorization. Larry, coming up. Okay. Do you think direction would be good?
If he doesn't comply with the quotation, we can number that down there.
Okay. Mark's saying we probably get by without doing it, just give direction. And if we come up with something, make note of it if there is a qualified individual that you find, and have the price that we feel confident with, we can make note of that in accepting the quotation. I think that's a better way of doing it, Mark. All right. Very good. Okay. So, is there any negativity on giving Larry direction to go about resourcing somebody that way? Seeing none? You've got your directions. Very good. Okay. All right. Any questions of Larry? Quick. John?
Yes, thank you,
Deputy
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor.
We are contracting some, and I think you've already spoke to this, Larry, but just to appease everybody, we contracted out some services from a couple other municipalities because of need and because of resignations. Are those services working very well, Larry? Are the contractors happy? Is there any delays that you're concerned about, or is everything ticking along just 100%?
Other than the comments received from council at the last meeting, and I did follow up with the individual, and I did email that out. I apologize to council. They do not have regular office hours here, but they are making themselves available and will contact people directly. So I believe that things are proceeding relatively as expeditiously as possible. We're still getting some requests to have inspections done the day of the call, but we're trying to slowly get through that, work through that with the contractors. They do understand the situation, but I believe I have not heard anything that would state that we are in any kind of issue or concerns with the services currently being provided.
And we're looking forward to working with our partners on an ongoing basis on that. Excellent. Okay. All right. Thank you, Larry. Yes, and that brings us down to bylaws. Mark? I think we have the first two to start off with. Yeah. Okay, the first bylaw, number 28, 2015, is from dealing with Les McKinnon, our environmental officer. I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 28, 2015, being a bylaw to rescind bylaws number 6, 2014, and number 7, 2014, Leslie Donald McKinnon, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on the bylaw? If I could, from the chair, I'd just like to say that Les's dedication to the job and his professionalism was the envy of a lot of municipalities out there, that we had somebody with his qualifications doing the job, and it's sad to see that it became this way. I think the interesting thing is how dedicated Les was. Up until about a month beforehand, he was still doing some work for us, and it was less than a week before the announcement of his death that Les finally had submitted his letter of resignation, and in a week's time he had passed away. So he was very dedicated and loyal to the corporation, but more so to his community, I believe. Just like to say that. Any other comments on the bylaw? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And bylaw number 29 is the one that Kerry spoke about, and we had given an indication at the last meeting of this one. It's a motion moved by Bev Cutting and seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that bylaw number 29, 2015, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 18, 2015, being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of revenue and expenditures for the year 2015, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this bylaw? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one was a bylaw to enter into an agreement with East Durham Wind. And Councillor Lawrence, you wanted to speak on this before we
Yes.
introduce?
Yes, thank you, I did. I have a great concern with the bylaw that's being proposed. I believe that the bylaw, I believe, what was the number we just passed last time? Yeah, 2.6, I think is the way we wanted it, the way it should be. The rewording in this under Article 12 is that they can use their agreement, the attachment to the bridge, as well as all of the revenue stream they have from the landowners from the lease. They can use it to borrow money, and I hope you all have been following it, and I did ask Mark, I see it's on an article from Ontario Farmer that was there, and there's been a lot of other information about it. Dave Hemingway, down the area that they're from, that group just came onto this by accident, and the wind companies there have $1 billion encumbrances on the properties that are down there. And what they're doing is lending, or at least borrowing money against the revenue stream of their FIT contracts, and also the agreements with the municipalities. And what's happening, the people that own the properties, when they can't get a clear title, there's an encumbrance on it when they go to sell it, or if they go to borrow money, they again have an encumbrance on it. And I don't see why in the world that we should give them permission to, if you read it, what it says is that they can assign this agreement to an affiliate, lender, or mortgagee, including for purposes of securing indebtedness or other obligations, without us giving permission. They merely have to let us know within 20 days, but there's nothing in here that says we would give permission. And I don't think, or approval, and I don't think in any way, shape, or form that we should allow that. I believe we should have the ability to give or not to give approval for that kind of thing. And so, in my view, the 26 that we passed last time covers that, and that's the way it should stand. Now, and what it's called is a charge of lease. That whole process is called a charge of lease. We have it changed. That was just asking. The 26 is, we passed it, we had to give approval. The one that's in front of us tonight is we don't have to give approval. They just let us know that they're borrowing against it.
Yeah, 26, this is, we sent it, this is what we passed, and it was sent to them. This little added piece is an amendment, I think was the question you were asking about.
Their request.
That's what I was.
Do you want to use your mic, Bev? Or?
That's what I didn't understand, okay.
Yeah.
So
At
they've
their
amended and
request.
added this in.
They've requested it.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yes, it was a request by NextEra or East Durham to amend the bylaw to include the new Section 12 as proposed in Bylaw 30. It was reviewed by our lawyer, Mr. Valboom, who I did not see any issues with it at the time, so that came forward.
I'm wondering if Mr. Velblum was aware of this, because it's just really come to light, this charge of lease thing, and he maybe wasn't up to speed on it. But, you know, just because we sent it, what we agreed to, they don't like it, well, tough bananas. You know, they've requested this change. I don't think we just say, okay, fine. Surely to goodness we have the right to give approval for somebody to get a mortgage or incur debt, part of which is based on attachment to our infrastructure.
And I don't think that anything in bylaw number 26 prevents them from going ahead with putting their infrastructure on the bridge. That has nothing to do with what is being asked for in the amendment, Carol. You're correct.
No, this is strictly dealing with them having the right to use it as an asset, I guess, in their debt. Yeah,
An
when they're
asset.
seeking lending money. So And I honestly wonder, it's just why they were in such an all-fired hurry to get this thing through. You know, are they doing the same thing as the wind companies to the south of us?
Could be. What's the wish? I think Councillor Lawrence, you're suggesting that we defer till we have further legal opinion on, or table, or take a... Yeah, we don't need to table it. We can just defer introducing this 30 at this point in time. Is that what you're suggesting, Beth?
Well, I'm really suggesting that we don't deal with it at all, but if that's the way we have to do it, fine, but...
It can be deferred.
I'd like,
You know,
I'd like it to go back the way we had it, or just let 26 stand, but,
well, 26 is, that's what's in place now. And
Right.
if it's deferred, there's nothing, that's what's being dealt with, and that's what we worked on. Bev?
If we don't do this, then 26 just stands and holds. We're not, 26 is in
Bylaw
place,
number
that's it.
26 is in place, yeah.
Okay, then I think
And
that's
it's
what
no-
we,
the only thing about terminology of defer, that gives the impression that we're coming back to it, going to look at it again, and that's not what I'm suggesting.
Well, if you want to defer and get a more defined legal opinion on it, or we could introduce and it could be passed or it could be defeated.
No.
Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Well, if you need a motion, I'll make the motion that we defer and get a legal opinion on it. I'm not willing to say yes or no right here because we don't really know what we're saying yes or no to. We've got some information that we're concerned about, and in light of the seriousness of the matter and the ongoing battles that we've had, I think we better get a little legal opinion from this.
I would think that having a motion to defer and seek further legal opinion would be in order. Well, you're beat to it, Mr. Bell, you can second it, but yeah, Mr. Bell was ahead of you on that one. We'll give it his idea. Okay? And Larry, do you think we need to, think there'd be any need to send any correspondence to East Durham Wind as to what's gone on? Or will they be watching live stream or have any way of getting this information of how we've dealt with this evening?
Sir, it would be very professional of us if we were to send them correspondence and advise them of the update, but I do believe they follow our council meetings live and in person, and I'm sure that message will be returned, but I do believe from a due diligence we should send them correspondence to advise them of that, Your Worship.
Very good. Can I ask that you follow up with the appropriate individuals from East Durham Wind? We seem to have a number of them out there. Okay. Mark's just finishing up that motion on 30. You have the other two handed out there? Let you sign it. Carol wants to sign that, so I'll forward it on to her. Councillor Lawrence wants to second that. Yeah, I know. I'll make sure she's got her fingerprints on it. Okay. I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby defers a decision relating to bylaw number 30, 2015, until further legal opinion is received respecting section 12 contained in the proposed bylaw.
I didn't hear that, Carol.
I wondered if you could also say, and considered further by council, without getting, the way that reads is just for them to get reading opinion.
And considered by council.
Yeah.
At a later date? Or upon receipt of information? Upon receipt.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Of information. Okay? Any further questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Next one, bylaw number 31 is the one that Director of Infrastructure Ken Gould was speaking about with service agreement. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 32, 2015, being a bylaw to confirm the... Got them in the wrong order. My apologies. I have a motion moved by Doug Hutchison and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 31, 2015, being a bylaw to enter into a product care municipal ISP Materials Services Agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and Product Care Association be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any comments or questions on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. And the last bylaw, number 32, is a confirming bylaw, housekeeping. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall, seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 32, 2015, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the May 19th, 2015 council meeting be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, Mark. That's it for bylaws. We're down to new business. We have, yes, Carol, we had a couple of things there.
I did. I had asked that the library minutes be pulled. And it's the library minutes of a board of February the 16th. I guess my first concern or question would be why we are just receiving February's in May. February's minutes should have been approved in March by the board and then forwarded to the municipality so we would have them end of March or into April. And I just noticed on here they weren't even signed until the 20th of April. But my concern, Mr. Mayor, is in February, under new business and Federation News, there was a property committee formed. The members were Richard Ballantyne, Malcolm Badeau, and Don Marshall. And I guess I want to inquire of Councillor Marshall, who is the liaison to the board, why on earth we were not, as a council, made aware if they started working on it in February, and we knew nothing about it until the announcement that they had closed it after their meeting in April, why council was not made aware. That is the role of the liaison to the library board, to liaise from council to the board and the board back to council. Had council been aware, been made aware that there was a problem, there might have been other alternatives that we could have looked at. We could have taken some action, not just found out after the door was closed. And I guess I'd like to ask why we weren't made aware.
Councillor Marshall, want to respond?
Well, we formed this property committee in February at the board, at that meeting, but we did not meet until March.
But you were aware then in March. You could have told council that there was a problem with the Elmwood Library, because that was from the property committee, that report that went in, and on the basis of that, they closed it immediately. Now, to be fair, the report, I believe, said they should discuss with council. However, they apparently chose not to. But I feel that as council, we should have been made aware that there was an issue, an issue that was imminent, if you were looking at closing it, that we could have perhaps taken some other action here as far as the safety, and if in fact there was a health and safety issue.
Well, we took the property committee took the recommendation to the library board, which met on the same day as that council meeting. So the library board made the decision at 4 o'clock, council meeting was at 6.
But you had met and had that property report together prior to that meeting. I mean, you could have come to us, if you met in March, could have made council aware in March or the first part of April that there was this issue, and maybe not had this terrible thing that happened to the people of Elmwood. They closed their Elmwood Library's closed. And I guess I really am upset about it, that the way it was handled. And also, as I say, that we're getting in February's minutes now, in May.
I guess the property committee answers to the library board. The property committee does not answer to the council.
But you are the council representative to the library board, and as such are to liaise to council and liaise back. So in your role, you should have made council aware there was a problem, because we own the building as a municipality and we're the landlord.
I didn't know what the library board's response to that library, the building committee was going to be, the property committee was going to be. So I really couldn't liaison back when they didn't know what the library board's response was going to be to that.
I'm not going to belabor it, Mr. Mayor, but I think the information was there, and council could have been made aware by the representative earlier than the day after, the night after they decided to close it.
It has been a very hotly discussed topic, and I think one thing that has come out of it, the communications between the library board and the landlord were lacking. And I'm going to say maybe on both sides, but certainly there was a lack of communication there on the issues of the tenant with the building, and then the library board withdrawing services has left us certainly in a lurch. I do not have anything formal. I guess the best thing I can say is that I had conversations with the town of Hanover. The mayor has reached out and said that for a 90-day period they would offer the Hanover Library free of charge for any of those Elmwood residents or members of the Elmwood board or Elmwood Library that needed library services, that they could approach Hanover on that. That was kind of but we have nothing formal, and I'm going to ask the CEO to follow up on that with the CEO librarian from West Grey and Hanover to see whether that is still available, because I don't believe that the library board at this point in time has got any mitigation in place to help out the Elmwood people at this point in time, other than the 3 libraries that are considerably further away than the Hanover. So we'll let it go at that. Councillor Cutting.
Yes, I have a question on the library minutes as well. It says that there was a motion to close Saturdays after the library's closed on a Friday for a stat holiday, and to close on long weekends, Saturday on long weekends. Can you explain that to me, Don, please?
Well, they were, how did that go? Kim's trying to make the library run as efficiently as possible with the staff. And her explanation was that it was not feasible or in the best interest to have it open on a Saturday of a long weekend.
And
There was debate back and forth about if people were a long weekend, if people were on holidays, whether they come to the library on a Saturday. And the consensus of the library board was that they would close on a Saturday of a long weekend.
With all due respect, that makes no sense. There's people, and when Councillor Lawrence was sitting on that board, there was people coming out of the conservation area that camped all weekend that were using the library.
That's right. Especially on a rainy day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't make any
absolutely.
sense to close, and it's not for staff, it's for the public. Just, we're not accommodating staff. I mean, there's lots of people that are willing to work,
Yep,
and I disagree with that statement.
I do too.
Councillor Lawrence. Carol, you would comment?
Well, I think Rob's pretty much captured what I was going to say. Like the whole point of the library is to serve the patrons, not to serve the staff. And while it's nice to have a long weekend, but if you work in a library, part of the understanding is you work, on a Saturday of a long weekend. And Rob's right. They have a fair bit of traffic from out of the conservation park, the campers, and not only that, but the local people on a long weekend. And it's just ludicrous. And I think if they just maybe do a time study up there on their staff and maybe not have quite so many staff in all the time, they might be able to make their dollars go a little bit better and be able to afford a Saturday. But if they want to do that, they'd be better to close someday during the week and have it open at least on the weekends.
I will take that concern back to the library board.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Don. Okay, Bev.
Yeah, just, I guess to add to this, if it is going to be closed on Saturdays, then if there's people on salary, et cetera, it should be adjusted. Just to be, if they're looking for efficiencies, well, that's an efficiency. They could save budget in the money in their budget for, by not paying the staff that aren't there.
Yeah, I think there is only one salaried employee at the, I'm pretty sure that's, but, yep, I would take that into account, certainly. Don?
I believe this is only affecting one Saturday of the year. So when the library was closed on a Friday, that they were not open on a Saturday. So Good Friday, if there's any other stat holidays on a Friday, that would be applicable, but there's...
Could be a few of them.
Well, it would have been just the past weekend, wouldn't it?
Yep.
If it's open on Friday of a long weekend, it would be closed on Saturday. That's how I kind of read the minutes, right?
Well, it says closed Saturdays of a long weekend. I don't, it's not very clear what they're really doing, but
And if it was open on the Friday, then it'd be closed on the Saturday of a long weekend. So this past weekend would have been one, July 1st would be another one, August 1st would be another one, Labor Day would be another one, and Thanksgiving. But I don't know.
I'll get clarification, but I think that if the library is closed on a Friday for a stat holiday, a Good Friday, then the library is closed on a Saturday. It's not closed every Saturday of a long weekend.
Well, just, yeah, if you can get clarification for us. I'm kind of like Bev, I was reading it that if it was on a long weekend, it was on the Friday, that it would be open, it would be closed on the Saturday, so. That would relieve a lot of questions here if that, you know, if we have that understanding.
And actually, that makes no sense, because if they're closed on a Friday, then they should be open the Saturday. So, not close it that 2 days, so it's backwards. But anyways.
4 days.
Yeah, that would be 4 days, so that makes no sense. So you need to clarify that and find out.
Just a question going back, Don. Very good. Look forward to that. Maybe we can, if it's available early, we could have it on Committee of the Whole next Monday. Okay?
The library strategic planning that day.
Oh. Well, we can follow up in the next council meeting too, then, in June. Okay. Any other new business? Then there's no addendums. No motion or direct motion. We have two. Yeah, the VON Grey Bruce volunteer week, and the Newstead Springs Brewery given notice for them selling bag tags. Bev, anything for? Well, if you're under notice of motion or direct motion, you're going back to new business? We'll hold those off then, Mark. Yeah, I haven't asked for 2/3 to introduce them. Bev, go ahead. What's your new business?
Number of killed by raven attacks that are now occurring that used to only occur quite a bit north of here. And I'm wondering if we should be speaking to the MNR, asking about delegations. I mean, is there some sort of, I mean, do they have something up north that they can do where they can shoot ravens or do whatever to stop them from flocking like that and attacking animals? Or is that, I don't know, it's just a question, because now all of a sudden it's happening here, and it hasn't happened here. I've never seen it until this term of council.
Yep.
In all the years I've been on council, there's never been a raven kill, and now we've had several.
I'm not aware of any, control measures that are out there that MNRF now, as forestry's added in there, for another letter. If there's any, Mark can make some inquiries, whether it comes up at Committee of the Whole or for the next council meeting, and ask then at that point in time whether we need a meeting with MNRF.
Maybe John would know, but that's what happens. Well, you're a farmer, but that's what happens, right, is that they flock. And so when you start to see them gathering and flocking around, the calves, et cetera, that's when they attack. They don't attack individually, but you see them gathering, and so can you shoot them, John? Is that?
You can, if you can find them.
Yeah.
They're a very smart bird.
Yeah,
They're
I
a
know.
whole lot different than Canada
Crows
geese or
yeah.
anything. And they do not stay in one place very long, but they seem to remember the places where they want to be. Mrs. Crowder, they had a kill, and then they took off, and they thought they were rid of them, and then they had another kill.
Yeah.
So they do come back to the same spot. I haven't heard of anything too bad. This calf, at a 500-pound calf, really surprised me. Thought it would get away, but they attacked the eyes of the animal first.
I know, and
that's the problem.
well, they attacked a bull. Somebody was telling me that they attacked a prize bull.
Yeah.
Now, this was a little farther north, and the bull was trying to get away so bad that it ran head first into a tree because they were all at its eyes, and that's how they killed him. And this I forget how many thousands of dollars this bull was worth, but so if they're attacking a bull, a 500-pound calf is nothing.
Well, that's right, and they have attacked large cows in Manitoba, not so much that
Right.
I'm aware of here, but I know in Manitoba they have a real problem with them also, so.
But I'm just wondering if there's some measures that the MNR are taking or allowing us to take?
No, not
farmers?
really, and, of course, and I can tell you, Mrs. Crowder, has had people in wanting to shoot the ravens. Well, guys want to go in on private property and
Yeah.
shoot anything once they hear about that, and that's the wrong approach to take, but.
Yeah.
Certain species of animals are expanding their territory, we can say that. Moose are in places where they haven't been before, so are bear. And there was a bear sighting in Owen Sound, I guess, today.
Two.
Twice. Black bear sighting, so they're out of,
Stay off the east side, man.
they're out of their territory, and when they do come this far south, they should be taken care of, but there's a way to do that. Ways that some people want to and ways that the ministry wants to, and oftentimes those ways conflict with each other.
I know.
We'll do some checking out on that, Bev, and see whether there is some resolve to it or not. Okay? Very good. Doug, Councillor Hutchison.
I'll go back to new businesses, if I can bring one more.
We're still on new business. Still on new business.
Just one point I'd like to raise regarding an email. I think a couple other people on council received an email from one of our residents about the concern with the ride check, I believe it was, that was on Main Street on Friday night. And the question was why the OPP and Saugeen Shores were involved in the ride check with West Grey, and I don't know that. I think maybe it's a question that's worth asking our chief, but
No.
no.
Could ask the board.
Okay, you know that. The other question, the other concern I had with that, and they were concerned with is the timing of that. I walked down there that night, and the lineup was from the ride check was at the north end of town, just out by the Catholic church, and the lineup went right back down to the lights, lined up, and people got tired of waiting that they started zipping down our road to get around it because the lineup was so huge, trying to get through that ride check. And obviously by that time they knew that there was something else going on. So the guys who maybe were guilty probably took our road rather than going through the ride check. So it's unfortunate. I don't know the time. Understand the reason behind it and what they were trying to do, but maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe the location wasn't right. I don't know. But Friday night the traffic, it was crazy. And to be backed up all the way through town didn't help, I thought.
To answer your first question.
Can I just, before we go any further?
Go ahead, Rob.
Declare a conflict of interest on this matter.
Very good, Rob. It's a joint forces measure that's done. We, being the West Grey Police Services, works with Saugeen Shores, Hanover, the OPP, and Owen Sound to do those ride checks on long weekends in the summer. And it's not just ride checks, it's other actions as well too. In Sauble Beach, there'll be a main presence in any one of these ones, and predominantly on long weekends. This year, the May weekend, it was here in West Grey to do a joint ride check program with the 5 forces. It was also on Friday night north of Newstead, just north of the fire hall in Newstead. There was the ride check was going on there. So they bring a number of officers from all those 5 municipal forces, the 4 municipal forces and the OPP to be able to do a broad sweep and give an awareness to the traveling public about the concerns around driving, drinking and driving, and using alternate substances. Sometimes it's not just alcohol that is a problem. And that's what it is, performed across the province. These ride checks are, and it's just part of trying to keep the roads safe. I do know that it does cause a bit of angst, certainly, when you get that type of traffic backed up, but it's better, I still am a firm believer, it's better to have traffic backed up and flow through than it is to have traffic backed up for a three-car accident caused by a drunk driver. But that's why you would have seen, I guess, the three here, and I take it was Saugeen Shores and Hanover, maybe working with West Grey and the Newstead portion, was the OPP and Owen Sound here. They were helping us out. We will be helping, West Grey Services will be helping them out on further weekends throughout the summer.
Right. I just thought the location might have been a little better than that. If it had been further out of town, you would have got a lot of people before they turned off, because there were a lot of people taking different detours, given the length of line and whatnot. So, you know, just something to consider in the future. But I understand that, and I think people in the area maybe don't realize the combined effort to pull it off.
And I had a few of those questions on the weekend as well too. But yeah, it's a joint effort for all those forces to be able to get together and do that and execute those programs throughout the summer. So now you've seen one in West Grey. You want to stay at home for the rest of the summer, you may not see a joint one for the rest of the summer in West Grey. You will see a number of ride programs, because we did get the board, we did get our ride funding came through, so there will be more ride checks in West Grey throughout the summer. Just for anybody out there, be careful. Be law-abiding, I guess is a better way to put it. Yep. Okay. All right. And I didn't turn on the mic, Adam, while I was saying that. Sorry. There's got to be somebody out there that reads lips, isn't there? Okay. First motion, notice of motion I have is moved by Doug Hutchison, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Garry hereby proclaims the week of May 17th to 23rd, 2015 as VON week. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Mark, exchange. Second one is dealing with getting a bylaw prepared for dealing with bag tags. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Garry hereby directs staff to prepare an amendment to bylaw number 86, 2011 for the June 1st, 2015 session of Council to include Newstead Springs Brewery as a vendor for the sale of West Garry bag tags. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. That's it for direct motions. Well, we didn't have any others introduced, so that was it for direct motions, Mark. Closed session, I don't believe we have anything there. Question period. Question period, we offer an opportunity for anybody in the audience. Mr. Crosby, Adam, and I'm afraid I don't know your name, so I could just say guest in the audience. Nothing? Very good. Okay, no questions from council. Municipal Act notices, Mark, I don't think we have any to have. Adjournment. Councillor Hutchison, number 20, moves that we adjourn. Mark, you saved us by 10 minutes.
Make up for the 2 minutes.
Very good. Thanks, Mark. Thank you.